Today we're going to be making an Irish cottage pie for St. Patrick's Day. So the difference between a cottage pie and a shepherd's pie is that a shepherd's pie is traditionally made with lamb or veal, and a cottage pie is made with beef. So I'm not a big lamb fan, so I chose to make a cottage pie with ground beef. So let me show you how I do it. This is the simplest, easiest recipe you'll ever find on cottage pie or shepherd's pie. So I start off by putting about a tablespoon or so of olive oil in the bottom of I like using cast iron, but I have Teflon pans as well. And to that, I'm gonna add a pound of ground beef. So while I've got my ground beef cooking up, I actually went out and picked some fresh thyme and some fresh rosemary. I cleaned it and I'm gonna be cutting it up to equal about a tablespoon each, and I'm gonna be adding that to my meat mixture. So when I'm about halfway done cooking my ground beef, I'm gonna add about a half of an onion. And I'm gonna finish, when I'm cooking the onion, I'm also gonna be cooking up the rest of the ground beef. And that way the onions don't really get overcooked, and they do add a lot of flavor. My ground beef and onions are completely cooked, so at this point I'm gonna take about 2.5 tablespoons of flour, and I'm just going to put that right over my meat. I'm gonna be adding some broth to this, and I just wanna make sure that I can thicken it up. So we're gonna cook this for a few minutes, and then we're gonna add our broth, our seasonings, and the last few items while this cooks down. Now to this mixture, we're gonna add our herbs. I have about a tablespoon of thyme, and I'm actually only gonna put in about a half a tablespoon of rosemary. This is fresh rosemary, and it is just really, really strong. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I'm gonna add some ketchup, about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons, just for the tomatoey taste. And then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of garlic. Just like this. All right, give that a stir. And we're gonna grab our broth and put that into our meat. Boy, does that ever smell good. So all I had today were some quarts of canned broth. So I went ahead and just made some broth on the stove with some bouillon cubes. And this will work out just fine. So we're gonna cook this down. And we've got some stuff down on the bottom of the pan. We're just gonna work on getting some of that up because it's got a ton of flavor in it. And since we added some of our liquid, I'm gonna add some dehydrated mushrooms. These are the chanterelle mushrooms. I'm gonna put in a few of those. And those will come back to life, and they're gonna make this dish taste amazing. Already you can see this is thickening up. It's gonna make a wonderful base for the bottom of our casserole. Or I guess you call it a pie. So we're gonna let this cook a few minutes. Just like this. It already looks and smells out of this world. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add some vegetables, which are already frozen, and we're just gonna throw them in. It's gonna make everything so simple for us. These are just some peas, carrots, corn, and green beans. We're gonna add those to the mix. Told you this was an easy recipe. We're just gonna throw the whole bag in. I've got 12 ounces of vegetables. And we're not gonna cook those to death, but we are gonna cook them about 10 minutes. We want the vegetables to heat up and meld those flavors with our mushrooms and our meat. It is gonna be fantastic. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven and get that going, and we'll be back to assemble our casserole in just a few minutes. Almost forgot, I like to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in mine. So maybe 3 or 4 squirts of that. Now I went ahead and made my mashed potatoes yesterday. I'm gonna save a little bit of this for my breakfast tomorrow, but I am gonna just heat up some of this so that I can just put it right over the top, and it will be ready as soon as our oven is preheated and this is cooked down a few minutes. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. You can see our meat mixture is all thickened up. Our mushrooms have picked up their hydration through this process. And all we're gonna do is put our meat mixture on the bottom of our sprayed casserole pan. So I'm just gonna put this in. This is so good. It's not your traditional corned beef and cabbage, but it's a meal that's been served for many, many years in Ireland. Now, I also didn't put potatoes in this because I've got some mashed potatoes on the top, but some people boil up potatoes and, you know, cut them into little tiny squares and add them to the meat mixture, even with the mashed potatoes. So that's something, if you want to do that, you know, it's another good option. So this is our casserole. I'm sorry I forgot to get any of the Irish cheddar, but I do have some other cheddar cheese I'm going to go ahead and just put on here. But if you want it, you know, a real authentic Irish meal, then you might want to get the Irish cheddar that you put on. So this is my secret. I put a little bit of cheese under the mashed potatoes and it just makes it really yummy. So I am just gonna put this right on top of our meat mixture, just like this. Get every last drop. These are the best potatoes. I had some yellow potatoes that I cooked down and made mashed potatoes out of, and they were just lovely. These came out so good. So all you're gonna do, and you've probably made this before, but all you're gonna do is put your mashed potatoes over the top. Just get them on here the best that you can. Spread all this out. You don't want to pull up any of the bottom part of the meat and cheese. So just try to keep working at it. I actually heated these potatoes up in the microwave so they would be easy to spread. I just need a little bit more there, and I think that'll do it. Just like that. Now I'm gonna put this on a pan because it is pretty full, even with the mashed potatoes. I don't want it to run all over my oven. So at this point, I'm gonna put the rest of my cheese over the top. I like to get cheese on the whole thing. And there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the preheated oven at 360 degrees, and I'm going to cook it for about 25-30 minutes. Everything in here is already cooked, but I want it, you know, nice and cooked down and bubbling, and you'll see I'm going to serve it just as soon as it's done. Well, my beautiful cottage pie just came out of the oven. I had it on the temperature of 360 degrees for 25 minutes. And so I am going to serve up a nice big helping of this. Oh, my house, it's It smells so good in here, and I'm not kidding. This is gonna be delicious. Really delicious. If you've never made or had cottage pie or shepherd's pie, you really need to give it a try. It is so good, and it's really a hearty meal. It's just something you can't go wrong with. All right, I think that's enough. I have a big serving of it. So I'm gonna be serving my cottage pie today with a piece of my Irish soda bread. Now, if you didn't see the video yesterday on how to make traditional Irish soda bread, I'm gonna go ahead and link it above. I actually took some of it to a birthday party last night, and it was a big hit. It got all eaten up, and it's just a wonderful texture. It is so good. It's like a big, yummy, buttery biscuit. I don't know, I can't even describe it. It's really good. But today we're on to the cottage pie, and so I'm gonna give it a try and let you know how it came out. Okay, let's give this cottage pie a try. Oh, it smells so good. It's one of the best meals I've had in probably 2 months. This, hands down, is so unbelievably good and flavorful. Oh my gosh. It's like, let me think of a different word than amazing. It's stupendous. It is so good. You know what? I skipped corned beef and cabbage this year for St. Patrick's Day. I decided to do the cottage pie. I'm so glad I did. I'm gonna sit down and enjoy my dinner with a delicious piece of my Irish soda bread. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you're not currently a subscriber to my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.